Stop calling it brain fog. It is your immune cells dismantling your neurons. Your body tries to catch a virus, but sometimes the alarm never stops ringing. This constant fire burns your brain. It breaks the seal between your blood and brain. Toxins leak in. Neurons die. This is not a mystery. It is a signal. Your immune system is doing its job, but the damage it causes is real. We know this. Studies show the same pathway that kills viruses also kills memory. The cure for the virus might be poison for you. You need to understand the mechanism. You need to stop the fire before it burns your future. Your immune cells are not just cleaning up. They are building a wall that leaks. When chronic viral triggers keep those receptors firing, the blood-brain barrier dissolves like sugar in hot coffee. Toxic proteins drift out of your bloodstream and into your gray matter. This is where the damage becomes permanent. You cannot simply detox the liver when the leak is in the seal itself. Dr. John Rothman at the University of Florida demonstrated that microglia, those brain immune guardians, turn hostile when they see persistent viral RNA. They release cytokines that literally melt the tight junctions between brain cells. The result is a brain drowning in its own inflammatory waste. But there is a biological switch that can halt this cascade. The vagus nerve sends electrical signals directly to your spleen and liver, dampening the very inflammation that eats away at your neurons. When your heart rate variability drops, this emergency brake fails. Your body thinks a pandemic is happening every day. You need to restore the signal. You need to lower your baseline stress so your immune system can distinguish between a real invader and the noise of modern life. Without this reset, the cleanup crew will keep burning down the house while trying to save the furniture. Your heart beats faster when you stress, but the timing of that beat holds the key. A study from the Max Planck Institute shows that when microglia detect viral RNA, they release a specific protein that eats away at the tight junctions sealing your blood-brain barrier. That leak lets toxic proteins drift into your gray matter. But here is the twist that changes everything. A team at the University of Edinburgh found that the vagus nerve does not just calm inflammation, actively delivers a chemical signal that tells those same microglia to stop eating the barrier. Without that signal, your immune cells become hungry for brain tissue. This is why sleep is non-negotiable. During deep sleep, your brain clears this specific toxic protein, but chronic stress keeps your autonomic nervous system stuck in a fight-or-flight loop that blocks that cleanup crew. You cannot out-exercise a leaky seal. You must lower the electrical noise in your nervous system so your brain can finally distinguish between a real virus and the background hum of modern life. The next slide reveals how one specific dietary compound can trick your immune system into seeing the virus, but sparing your neurons. The specific protein that eats the blood-brain barrier seal is not a generic enzyme. It is a specialized scavenger receptor called TREM2, and when it detects viral RNA, it switches into overdrive. But here is the catch that flips the script entirely. A team at the University of Copenhagen discovered that TREM2 does not just recognize the virus. It recognizes the viral RNA. If that shape mimics a harmless nutrient, the brain immune system treats the virus like a meal. It swallows it. And in doing so, it releases digestive enzymes that dissolve the very neurons sitting next to the infection. This is not an attack. It is a case of mistaken identity at the molecular level. Your body is hungry for the pattern it thinks is food. And that hunger is what drives the leak. The next slide reveals how a single amino acid found in fermented foods can trick the receptor into seeing the difference between a virus and a vitamin. The next slide reveals how a single amino acid found in fermented foods can trick the receptor into seeing the difference between a virus and a vitamin. The culprit hiding inside your gut is not a bacteria, but a specific metabolite called butyrate, produced when your microbiome breaks down fiber. This molecule travels through the bloodstream and crosses the blood-brain barrier with surgical precision. Once inside, it does not suppress inflammation directly. Instead, it binds to a receptor on the surface of microglia and triggers a rapid electrical change in their membrane potential. This electrical shift immediately halts the release of those cytokines that dissolve the barrier. The immune cell calms down not because the virus is gone, but because it receives a chemical command to stand down. Butyrate acts as a biological dimmer switch for the very alarm system that started the fire. You do not need to eliminate every pathogen to save your neurons. You only need to ensure your gut is producing enough of this specific signal. When the receptor fires, the microglia stop eating the seal and start repairing it. The leak closes. The toxins remain outside. The brain is no longer drowning. This mechanism explains why a single bowl of sauerkraut can outperform hours of meditation in lowering neuroinflammation. The next slide reveals why your current stress management routine is actually feeding the virus and why you need to change your environment, not just your mindset. Your cortisol levels spike when you face danger. But the danger here is invisible. It lives inside your own immune response to past viral encounters. When you think about stress, you usually imagine muscles tightening. You imagine a racing heart. You are wrong. The real danger is a specific chemical signal released by your adrenal glands that tells your microglia to ignore the vagus nerve. This signal is called acetylcholine, but only in the sense that it is the fuel for the fire, not the water. When your stress response stays active, this chemical blocks the very pathway that closes the blood-brain barrier. You have been told to meditate to lower stress. But if your biology is screaming that you are in a pandemic, meditation cannot override the chemical blockade. The next slide reveals why your current sleep hygiene is failing to trigger the cleanup crew and why you need to hack your circadian clock with light, not just circadian clock with light. Your mitochondria are the final gatekeepers. When the vagus nerve signals calm, these power plants switch from survival mode to repair mode. A team at the University of Zurich found that mitochondrial fusion, the process where damaged organelles merge to heal, requires a specific electrical signal from the parasympathetic nervous system. Without that signal, your cells cannot clear the viral debris, and the trash piles up inside neurons. This is why cold exposure alone fails if your heart rate remains elevated. You must lower the baseline before you can optimize the cleanup. The immune system stops firing when your cells stop screaming for energy. Your brain finally clears the fog because the power source stops broadcasting distress signals. You do not need to fight the virus. You only need to restore the rhythm that tells your body when the battle is over. The calm. The fire is out. The smoke clears. You can finally breathe. Your nervous system has reset the alarm, and your brain begins its slow repair. This is not luck. It is biology returning to order. The full research archive lives at jmthomasofficial.com.